his back.
Yep, going for a ride.
Hello, Kindred Spirits. Diane here. Let's see if I can adjust this a little bit. Really my first full day camping here at Assateague National Seashore 2021. I am right this moment waiting for a person who has been interning with me since last October as for Reiki Master. So in the beginning, when I start to work with a Reiki Master, I leave it up to the intern to tell me when they feel ready to receive their initiations or attunement. It became apparent to both of us about a month ago in June, beginning of June, beginning of May, is that I really felt like she was ready, and she confirmed that she really felt she was ready too. So then, what better place to have this wondrous ceremony this evening than here on Assateague, which I believe is Spiritual Vortex. My campsite is on the bayside, where I also work at the kayak rental place. Plenty of time to hold a sacred space for the initiation of another Reiki Master to go out and be themselves in the world. She's going to be here in about 15 minutes. That over there, see that little tent right there? That is where she's going to sleep tonight. There's a cot in there with a little camping air mattress on it, and a little fan, and a light, and then I also had some fairy lights that I put in there that she could turn on if she wanted. And then I had a little chair that I put out front. So she has her own accommodations over there. Because there's lots of processing that's going to be going on. I have been enjoying myself in my little screen house. It's 6x6. I can't believe on Assateague I got a space with, all trees. This is just crazy. Let's see, there's my van there. I'm just doing a little panoramic, and I'm doing this by hand, so I'm sorry if I'm moving. Trying to keep it even. There's space for about 3 more tents over there. So, is my mind humming with the possibilities? Yes, it absolutely is. But tonight, it's going to be all about this wonderful Reiki Master that is just the embodiment of all of our practices. So I'm honored that I got to know her. So I'm not sure how this is going to go. I might ask her if she is game for letting us do video part of things, and maybe I won't ever put it up. I have a loose agenda, but also I just know that it's just going to unfold and just be perfect, and yeah, it's just wonderful, and I'm really grateful, and I will talk to you later. Okay, so I talked her into it.
Didn't take much convincing.
Okay, oh, you know what I just want to check? Do I have anything in my teeth?
No.
Okay, thank you.
You're good.
Alrighty, okay, so welcome back, Kindred Spirits. I'm not sure where this is going to go, but Daina has good-naturedly accepted that we're just going to roll the camera and we'll see what happens. Alright, so we're going to forget that the camera's here now, right? We were just talking about your dream.
Yes, my
Spent
dream.
a whole lot of time picking it apart, but I don't know. Would you mind sharing the dream and then sharing kind of what your thoughts about the dream?
Yeah. So I had a dream. It was a night before a full moon, and I had a dream of a werewolf. I've had a lot of dreams about a lot of animals, but it was my first dream about a werewolf. So the dream started, I was in my parents' house, and they live in the woods, and in the dream the house was all windows, so I could see out in every direction, and I saw a large wolf, black wolf, walking around. I thought, wow, that's a big wolf. I looked away, looked back, and in that time it had gone up on its hind legs, and it was a werewolf. And it started just kind of looking at all the windows, trying to open the doors, and I became extremely fearful. I had my best friend, her husband, and their 2 young daughters in the house with me. I also had my dog. So I was worried and fearful for all of the ones that I love. And so I started immediately going around and checking all the doors, making sure they were locked. My dog Gizmo at one point almost got outside. I was able to save him before he did, but it was very much so a moment of panic. And there the werewolf was, slowly walking around checking the doors. So I would say I was pretty fearful of the werewolf and fearful it would get in. And so after chatting about it with Diane for a little bit, my interpretation of the dream is a little bit of fear around leaving my friend Amanda, who was the friend in the dream, who I've been helping out a lot with. She's got 2 young girls, and she's running a business, and helping her run the business, helping her look after her girls. And I'll be moving away in a couple months to move closer to my family and to start a new chapter, which is really exciting, but there's also a little bit of a sadness of leaving my good friend behind, who I clearly feel like I'm protecting. That's right, Imogene.
All right, break for the dogs.
Break for the dogs. Yeah, Gizmo. Come on.
It's all right.
Come on in.
Yes, we're all here. Yeah, it's all good. All right, that didn't take too long.
So yeah, so there's a little bit of fear of kind of no longer being the protector of my friend. I think they agree that that's a good interpretation of the dream.
Yes.
But yeah, so it's definitely, it makes a lot of sense to me. To hold the space for a friend, but maybe taking on too much responsibility for somebody else, and in the process, not harming yourself, but putting yourself in positions where you don't have as much energy for yourself or others, and being able to cut that cord with that person and allow them to be their own person and, to fly. So.
Yes, and
Yeah.
you were gone for 2 weeks, and there's a couple of out of the realm of that you would never think of. Things happened, and to Amanda and her family, and it actually turned out to be something good.
Yeah, everything turned out. Yeah, her and her daughter got pretty sick. Her husband and his friend saved a couple people in a plane crash in the ocean. Pretty incredible stuff. And that all happened in the 2 weeks that I was gone. And everyone was saved. Everyone was okay. In the plane crash, Amanda and her daughter, got over their sickness, and they're fine. So everything turned out, and I didn't have to do anything. So.
So all is well. All is well. You have quite a number of dreams.
I do. And I've always paid a lot of attention to my dreams, and I have since I was really little. Ever since I can remember, I've had what I call vivid dreams. So real that when I was younger, it was hard to figure out what was real and what wasn't. And as I grew up, I realized not everybody was as into their dreams, and wanted to talk about them and think about them and figure them out as me. So, but that didn't stop me. But I journal most of my dreams. I always gain some tidbit from at least thinking about them or talking about them. So, not short on dreams.
Not short on dreams. I'm not short on dreams either, but I don't remember most of them.
Have you ever?
But I'm fascinated by people who do remember them.
Oh yeah.
Though.
I mean, to the point where I've read a lot of psychology texts on it that are, argue that we, as time goes on, our brain categorizes dreams the same as memories. So as we grow older and we start recounting stories, it's very common that we blend dreams with actual happenings, which is one of the reasons I like to write my dreams down, because oftentimes I'll remember something and think, was that a dream? Or did that really happen?
Yeah. That begs a question for me is, does it really matter? They're both your experience.
Right.
They're both
in our brain.
They're both part of
Yeah.
How you view the world, how you interact with the world. It always has been.
Yeah.
So who's to say, which is the real place?
That's a question I've posed many times.
Do you experience both of them, both dream state and just your waking state to be the same in terms of experience? Like the movements of your body and...
Yeah, I've had dreams. I've even had dreams where I've looked at myself in the mirror, which is interesting because I kind of did some research on it, and that apparently is a very rare thing to have happen. Yeah, it's of course when I'm awake, it's easy to say I'm awake, but when I'm in a dream, I think I'm awake. So,
Yeah, so there you go.
Right.
That might be the other thing about that.
Right. How many people do you usually have in a group?
For the wildlife tours, they have 9 people and then 10 people total, including myself. And it's a 2-mile paddle.
Yeah.
It takes about 2 hours. We go out, we paddle for a while, and then we stop and talk. Paddle for a while.
Yeah.
Always looking for something to talk about, just in the wild.
Have you seen anything that surprised you yet?
I would say that I am surprised when I go out there that I actually see things. It's really attuning me to watch out for wildlife in a way that I never have before. And hoping that I see something, because there's no guarantee that you're going to see anything.
Yeah.
So horses, I always try to call the horses in and call the horseshoe crabs. I love to talk about horseshoe crabs. And just call the people in that are really interested in doing it. And it really is fun.
Yeah.
Lots of people want to know how long
Oh, I'm
things
sure,
live.
yeah.
And I find that an interesting concept about how long people are concerned about how long things live, because I'm thinking about our own lives. Is that how many years do we not follow our soul's call?
Yeah.
Because we think it's not the right time,
Yeah.
or it's not the thing to do, or this or that. When we all have a certain number of years to get it done.
Yeah. Yeah, even just the fixation with, or I guess not even fixation, but just the fear of death in people.
Yeah.
And I guess we seek to resolve that at all, or change our lives so that perhaps we don't fear it as much, or...
I would like to think that that's the purpose of a spiritual practice.
Yeah.
Is to
accept the unknown.
Accept the unknown. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Accept the unknown. To learn how to be with what is, because what is inevitable. So to think that it should be doing anything different is suffering.
Yes.
Big time suffering.
Yeah.
I'm also hoping that my practice of love, if my mind starts to get, kind of wonkier than it is already, that I am so infused with my desire to be as loving as possible, or lined up with love as much as possible, even though I'm human, follows my mind wherever it goes.
Well, that's interesting. I suppose there's probably little to no literature or research on someone who wanted to see if they could train the mind as well as the spirit to be in unison
I'm
enough.
experimenting on
Yeah.
myself.
Yeah.
And this is the only record of it. And seriously, I feel like I am experimenting on myself.
Yeah.
Because I haven't, and I'm sure I've experienced it, I'm sure I have been in the presence of, I'm sure I've read books, and, here or there or whatever, but that's just what I feel like I'm supposed to be doing, is seeing.
Yeah.
We are that. And every time I look up, I see a new butterfly and
Yeah.
a new dragonfly. Look, it's two of them together.
Oh, wow.
Dragonfly and a butterfly. We are inundated. It would not show in this video how many butterflies are around here, and have been around here all day. Blue and black ones, yellow and black ones.
I saw three little yellow ones behind us. While we've
Three
been
little
talking,
yellow
so,
ones.
Yeah.
Was it in your dream that the butterflies exploded, or was
That
it
was in reality.
In
But I
reality?
actually have had a butterfly dream. It reminded me when it happened of a dream I had had. One of my friends, when I lived back in Florida, he was... Yeah. So I had a friend in Florida who, he was from... So, a friend in Florida.
Friend in Florida.
And he was part Vietnamese, and he had told me when he was a kid that he had a dream of this, that he was in a park somewhere, and he had a dream of this woman, this old woman with long white hair, who was brushing her hair under this tree. And as he's having this dream, and as a kid, he's walking up to this woman with long, and she's brushing her hair, and he never saw her face, but he told his mom about the dream when he woke up. And she had told him it was some sort of, in the Vietnamese culture, it was some sort of spirit, that had visited him. And it was, said to be with him for his whole life. And he had had dreams of this woman, like standing over his bed and things as his life went on. And he had one, the reason why we were talking about it is because he had one of her the night before. It's like, wow, that's some pretty deep stuff. And he didn't know whether to be scared of her or, embrace it. And so then I started having encounters with this woman with white hair in my dreams. And call it, what you will. But I was pretty scared of her. She was scared. She revealed herself in a very scary way to me. I don't know if it was a protective thing of him or what it might be. But the final dream I had of her, I was in my apartment at that time in the dream, and I walked from my bedroom out to the living room, and I told this woman that she had to leave. I said, you have to leave my apartment. I don't want you here anymore. You're not welcome here. You must leave. And after I said that, this explosion of yellow butterflies in my apartment happened. And it was the sign to me like, okay, this is clear, this is good. So when I was out for my run, not too long ago after my werewolf dream, I ran through this pack of butterflies that exploded around me, just like in the dream. And it was kind of this moment of like, was that a dream? Is this, is this a dream? This seems a lot like the dream I had. But it was, that's exactly what it reminded me of. So.
And now there's a lot of butterflies around here. So
Now there's an explosion of butterflies around
I think
here.
I need to go get the animal speak book.
Yes. Oh, yes, absolutely.
I'll be right back.
I wonder if werewolf would be in there.
So I'm going to part with all my oracle decks. And
That would
boy,
be
am I
hard.
sorry.
That'd be hard for me.
I'm really. The only good thing is one of my decks ended up with someone who I really.
Oh, so did you gift them or give them?
No, I just had them for sale
Yeah.
at my shop.
Oh, gotcha.
And yeah, I had to release them. They wanted to be released, so I did. So this is my first oracle deck past that, because I felt like the wild unknown. After a couple of years, I would say that what that deck did for me is it helped me to explore my shadow side deeper than I feel like I've ever, I feel like I've gone deep on my shadow, before, but working with these cards for a couple of years gave me more opportunity, and then one day I realized I'm complete with this, and I don't need to I don't need to dwell in this anymore. I want something that is a little bit more spiritually activating.
Yeah.
And that the shadow can be addressed when the shadow needs to be.
Exactly. Yeah. It'll make it. Oh, it'll let you know.
Yeah. It's never not ever there, because that's part of being able to choose.
Exactly.
It's always going to be present.
Yeah. Yeah, and I suppose the accepting is when we accept ourselves, we at some point have to forget, or at least set aside our goals or the work we think we need to do, and just be able to accept ourselves as we are right now, in this moment, is enough. You know? I mean, there's always work that can be done.
Always.
So,
always.
you know.
And I also feel like a big part of being here is to learn how to have fun.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so we are, I'll just look back here. Okay, first we're looking for butterflies. Butterfly. Well, of course, transmutation and the dance of joy. Probably no animal or insect has come to represent the process of transformation and shape-shifting more than that of the butterfly.
Werewolf.
Ooh. Yes.
Shape-shifting. Wow.
Holy, okay, so I doubt it's going to be in here.
I know. But they have more in common than you might, I guess, than I might realize.
Yeah.
A butterfly and a werewolf.
No.
Too mythical.
Yeah. All right. For those with this totem, the process of metamorphosis should be studied closely. With butterflies and moths, there are always 4 distinct stages of change, as outlined in the previous chapter. We're not going to go back. When butterfly shows up, make note of the most important issues confronting you at the moment. This is probably why butterfly has shown up. What state of change are you at in regard to them? To determine that, you may have to examine and determine what you wish the outcome to be and how best to accomplish it. Interesting, so maybe we should look at the previous chapter. Lastly is the process of metamorphosis. Change is inevitable in life, and life only becomes more difficult and dangerous on many levels when we resist its natural flow. Change ensures growth. We have to shed the old before we can come into the new. Metamorphosis is the magic inherent within insects. It is the magic of life that they can teach. Everything we create in life has to go through stages. These align with the 4 stages of insect metamorphosis. All insects, and thus all ideas and creation, begin as eggs. The eggs hatch into caterpillars, which feed and spin cocoons. From the cocoon comes its final expression of life, usually with wings. There are points in the creative process where we must be passive and let things take a natural course. We do what we must, and then we let it move on its own. This is reflected in the chrysalis stage. Does that sound like maybe that's what you've been doing for the last year?
Yeah, it sounds like, in the fact that the butterflies were flying is perhaps indicative that it's time to move on, to fly.
Yeah, from the chrysalis comes yet a new and final form, a winged insect.
Yep.
You are a winged insect, girl. The fact that it has wings in its final stages is very significant, and all of the symbolism associated with wings apply to insects as well as birds. The adult only comes out of the cocoon in the warmth of spring, again reflecting the ability to go within and determine the best time to set the new creations in motion on a higher level. Wings are the emblem of the adult insect, and thus the adult creation. Flight now becomes a way of life forever, however long the adult survives. first you have the werewolf dream.
It's the shadow and the, I mean, it's the shadow and the non-shadow.
Yes.
The
Yes.
acceptance of all,
Yeah.
that, all the feelings, all of the, everything that comes with it. You know, there's always the werewolf side of everything, right? There's always the butterfly side of everything.
Right. What choose you?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I'm choosing the butterfly right now.
Me too. Seems like it's choosing us too.
That's right.
No
Yeah,
werewolves yet,
yeah.
but we'll keep you updated.
I don't think there's any werewolves here, but there are kind of...
Hey, actually,
What?
you know what? Oh my goodness.
What?
So when I, sorry, this I just, the white werewolves of Worcester. So the Pocomoke State Forest, there are a lot of legends of people who have seen white werewolves throughout time
In Pocomoke.
in Pocomoke Forest, which is
Just
very
south of
near here.
Snowden. Yes.
Yes. And when I told him, it was so funny. It was the first time I took Gizmo out on the trail, and I was doing a bunch of research on it, and I saw this story about white werewolves, white werewolves of Worcester, and I was like, no way. So I told Amanda about it, and of course it's urban legend, but her and I were kind of geeking out about it, you know, like talking about it, wonder what people have seen. And I went out with Gizmo the next day on the trail, and that was when I found that hunk of white deer. What I came to find was deer belly fur. But when I first saw this hunk of fur sitting in the middle of the trail that was white, I was like, a white werewolf. Right.
What am I looking at?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
So, you know, urban legend, there are some around here, but
Oh my gosh.
it's not a full moon, so we're okay. But there was a forest fire out in Montana when we were in Wyoming, and my friend Weston and his brother, one of their friends, they stopped the fire a mile from his house. So he almost lost his house. So we were kind of checking in with him periodically. But I mean, it's tough out there to live out there with
There's
you know,
no water.
the droughts,
water.
the fires, the harsh climate in the winter. I mean, it's the wild, wild west out there. I mean, I asked his brother, I was like, how do you, I mean, that's a lot for an individual to go through. And the one thing he said was, you can't be attached to things. He said, you can't live out west and be attached to things. He said, because you're going to lose them. That's what you learn. And he said, that's a good lesson that I've learned from living out here. It's a hard lesson, but he's like, your home, anything. He said, because whether it's a forest fire or an avalanche or whatever it might be, you know, it could be gone tomorrow. So, well.
And so they live for today.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which just includes where they choose to live.
Yeah.
Attachment.
Yeah, I heard, it was Alan Watts, he said, attachment isn't losing your appetite for dinner, but it's removing all the stickiness from your life, things that you feel you're stuck to or clinging to. You can still get excited about future happenings or things that you hope will happen or whatever it might be, but it's removing this must or I must.
If I don't have this and I can't put my hand on it, and I'm talking about, you know, relationships and things.
Yeah.
Who am I?
Yeah. And it's tough. What's the balance? You know, it's tough to find the balance in that, in not being too unattached, but also not being fully attached. You know.
Yeah. Kind of like a reading practice.
Yeah, exactly.
right, Daina. How would you describe your experience?
It was very relaxing, is how I would describe it. Kind of just completely mellowed me out. Yeah, kind of everything, I felt all the tension in my body kind of just leave. It was very pleasant. Yeah. Now we're just listening to the wind in the trees and looking at all the butterflies and horses. It's a beautiful day.
We have been visited a lot by a lot of things. Gizmo is finally taking a little nap. The bulb. Thanks for sticking around to the end of the video. Didn't want to distract from the main story that was going on there. Well, I've decided to just quickly make a commentary. A story that is lighthearted, and you can see that, we really had fun with it. And there's a shadow side, which is something that we discussed in the video too. When I was making this video, and the camera was just running, and then I was inspired to go back, see what was going on, or to see if there was anything there, actually, is what happens. And a story emerged. I'm going through it, and then it comes up about this white werewolf of Pocomoke City. And watching the footage, didn't happen then, but watching the footage, it really pinged me that I wanted to look into it a little bit. So I did. You see that I saw on geocaching.com that there is a legend around it. And I just took a snippet of it. It could have addressed the darker side of what was going on there, or why the area might have a story like that going on. I wanted us to take a step back, which I did. And so here is my commentary. That land has been traumatized by centuries of violence perpetrated by white people against other people that they had the arrogance of thinking they were better than, just because of the color of their skin. I can't even imagine feeling that type of entitlement. But these stories that grow up around it, these white stories, because history is written by the victors, these white stories ends up being kind of lighthearted. It's kind of funny, it's a legend and all that, but underneath, oh my goodness, I am I just want to say that when I run across stories like this, I want to presence them. I want to face them directly. I want to feel them. I want to add them to, and in probably a lot of cases, replace the stories that are currently kind of on automatic pilot within me, with this new information. And I am going to be spending the rest of my life attempting to heal a collective healing, because we all have to do it. We all are capable of doing it. And I don't know the way. I know a way. I know a way that works for me. I know a way that helps me walk through this multifaceted, experienced existence that we get to be in these physical bodies. So thank you for hanging around. And I guess I'll see you soon.